But anyway. Whoa, hello! Alright, so, my favorite games of the year, alright? Let's take a look at this. So I'm gonna tackle this in as my mind allows. I'll just talk about whatever comes to my mind. So first thing I like to say, I'm gonna probably introduce a game, and then we're gonna look at screenshots that I made or videos that I have on YouTube. So there's probably gonna be spoilers. So in case I introduce a game for which you do not want to get spoiled, you haven't played, or stuff like that, I'm gonna give copious amounts of warnings before we get to see something spoilerific. So word of warning there. So 2017, huh? 2017 has been a crazy year, and it's kind of cool to me that one of the first games that released in the year is the best game of the year. But let's talk about that later. I'm thinking, what else was there? So okay, so let's talk about the games that I don't think are as good as other people say, or well, let's rephrase this. Let's talk about the games that I don't like as much as other people do. Now I like that more. That sounds way less abrasive. First thing is Nier Automata. So okay, if you haven't played Nier Automata, we're gonna be looking at pictures, and there's probably gonna be spoilers in them. So you may wanna tune out. I'll be putting the timestamps on the YouTube video, but I can't do that right now, obviously. So let's take a look at Nier Automata. Nier Automata was for me, a highly anticipated game. I had a lot of expectations, and that's usually bad news, right? A lot of expectations mean that you're setting the bar very high, and you're probably gonna get disappointed at some point, right? Disappoint at some point. So let's talk about the positive things first. This game, I don't even need to think about this. This game gets the Lewd Game of the Year for sure. The only thing missing from this would be said photo mode. If this game had a photo mode, oh baby, that would be the Lewd Game of the century, perhaps. But the bots are good, and the costumes are good. Everything looks nice. It's like it's in a cutscene. You can't evade these angles, even if you wanted to. But why would you anyway? Why did I make the screenshot? I guess it's because I did not have a photo mode. Anyway, yeah. So this game, whew, the ladders are top tier in Nier for fucking sure. You've probably seen a bunch of this. But I actually want to look at some pictures from the end of the game. So here's the deal. A2 is a much better character than 2B, as far as I'm concerned. This pigeon looks like he's gonna make some moves on A2 right there. So the thing that disappointed me personally about Nier Automata is definitely the story and the characters, and most importantly, I was expecting some weird shit to happen, but it never really reached the heights that I was expecting, from the previous games of Yoko Taro. The soundtrack is good, so let me also get that out of the way. Nier definitely has the best music of the year, hands down, there's no question. Although again, it was a bit disappointing for me because the best music is stuff from the first game. The new stuff is kind of like, yeah, I guess it works for the moment, but as on its own, I don't think I've even listened to Nier's soundtrack outside of the game for, whatever purpose. I don't think I did that at all. I listened to a lot of Nier 1 when I played Nier 1, but I didn't listen to Automata at all. So that's kind of weird to me, because the soundtrack is good, but outside of the game, I didn't feel strongly about it at all. Save for the few things that are from the first game, like Emil's theme, the Song of the Ancients with Developer singing. Oh my god, that was fucking awesome. Now here's the library from the first game. When I reached this part, I was like, oh my god, this is so good. But yeah, I was definitely expecting the game to be way crazier, which it never did. Unless we're talking about the final credits. The final credits are the best part of the game for sure, to me. And I think so. Here's what I was thinking about the characters and the story, because Nier 1 was extremely fucking emotional. That game tugs at your fucking heart and tears like 24/7. It's crazy, and it gets crazier with the extended playthroughs. The New Game Plus is just completely fucked up. You will feel like the biggest douchebag on New Game Plus in Nier 1. So I was wondering why is that not happening in this game? Why am I not so invested in any of the characters or any of the events? One of the things is definitely the fact that you're fighting against robots and they all look the same. All the enemies look the fucking same. They're a derivation of the same robot, and it's kind of boring. This is probably one of the most interesting parts of the game for sure. But at this time I was like, I was kind of over 2B, and I realized that A2 is vastly better character. This tower looks cool, but it wasn't as crazy as I was expecting either. I just really was expecting some sort of super mind-bowling stuff, which never happened. There were plenty of cool moments, but in total, like an experience thing, it just felt kind of underwhelming. And then the final credits roll, which kind of brings it back, but still. So I was thinking, what's wrong with the characters in this game? Because the characters are definitely weaker than in Nier 1. Fucking Grimoire-wise, Kaine and Nier are all freaking awesome dudes, and you wanna listen to them talk about anything because they have this chemistry between them. So I was thinking, hey, maybe it's because the main characters are all androids, they're not humans, so they're kind of like trying to simulate emotions and they're not really even sure what's going on. So it all feels just a little bit off and you don't really feel with them, But considering Nier 1's main characters are also not really human, it kind of falls apart, this theory, so I don't fucking know. The combat is good, it feels good, but the combat never really asks you to use it, in like a very challenging way anyway, I felt. Because again, the enemy variety is so not interesting to me. Well, that's a good angle. And it's like when you first gain control of A2, immediately the first exchange between her and the pod is like so much more interesting and enjoyable and just more compelling than anything that 2B has ever said up to that point. I feel like the only people who prefer or like 2B are the people who didn't play the game and never found the true beauty in A2. That's how I feel anyway. People have heard about Nier, they've seen some source filmmaker fan movies, if you will, of 2B and whatever, but they don't know they don't know where it's at. And I'm telling you, it's here. It's with A2. She's the best character. I'm kind of sad that she cut off their hair, but she looks cool like this too, I guess. She was definitely more mysterious and stuff like this, but whatever. The coolest part to me about Nier Automata, the coolest parts are the callbacks to the first game, which kinda sucks, because it means the game doesn't stand on its own. I did also enjoy this part because, you get to see these crazy monsters and like robots around the skyscrapers and shit. It's pretty cool. And oh my god, there's a dog. There's a doggy. There's a freaking dog. I mean, invaded by a dog. Well, that's unexpected. It's a dog, alright. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So there's these robots around these like buildings, and I love that shit. Seeing that from the ground floor, that's awesome. Look at this scene. This is just seeing the eyes and the guy around the urban environment. That's awesome. I love that. Right, so where was I? Wait, I was gonna find the thing. Yeah, the boss fights. That's another thing. This game actually doesn't have any boss fights. There's maybe 2 encounters that could be sort of considered boss fight, but everything else is just you waiting for somebody to finish talking. You don't even really need to fight. You just need to evade their attacks, and they're just talking. When they finish talking, it's like a transition to a next scene. It's not really a boss fight. So that was very, very disappointing, because Nier 1 has some really cool fucking boss fights that I really enjoyed, despite having shittier combat. Oh wait, here it is. So this is probably my favorite part of Nier Automata. When you find this old ramshackle of a house, which is the original abode of Kaine and her grandma. And if you remember from the first game, during the text novel segment of the New Game Plus in Nier 1, Kaine talks about how she painted her grandma, like made a picture, but you never see the picture in the game. And now years later, you find this, and there's the damn picture of the grandma! I was like, holy shit. Also, her theme is playing in the background. So that was probably my emotional height for this fucking game. Besides the final credits. The final credits are... those are mind-blowing, but... yeah, this made me very happy. The damn picture of the grandma. I was like, wow, that's impossible, man. He remembered to put it there? Awesome stuff. So yeah, I definitely have a lot of problems with Nier Automata, but it was a great game. I enjoyed playing it very much. The music's beautiful, the Lewd aspects are top-notch, as expected from Akihiko Yoshida doing the character design, so that was cool. The other game that I don't like as much as other people is Persona 5. I don't have many screenshots here because, you know, PS4 share was blocked, and I couldn't stream the game either. Not that I really wanted to, necessarily. But yeah, about Persona 5, what could I say? The soundtrack, I had high hopes for the soundtrack because, you know, acid jazz sounds good, and I like Shoji Meguro a lot. But the soundtrack in general feels super unremarkable to me. Outside of like 3 or 4 tracks, like the casino theme, battle theme, and some of the boss themes, and also the theme for like the urban exploration, there's not much that I remember being like a, oh man, this sounds good. There's nothing too catchy or anything like that. Definitely not on the level of Persona 3 or 4. I think those games have better soundtracks in general. Yeah, that's definitely what I would say about Persona 5. The story was fucking garbage, I gotta be honest. The story was super awesome at the beginning and at the very end, and everything in the middle sucked ass. But that doesn't really matter because the game itself is so strong. If the game wasn't so good, I don't know if I would even finish it because I was like, man, this game is so similar to Persona 4 and 3. I'm a little bit disappointed. And the story sucks. Damn. You're lucky that I really like Demon Fusion and all the combat and the dungeon exploration and the mementos with the procedurally generated stuff and the social links. You're lucky you have all these things, because if you only had the story and you only had like a linear progression through battles, I don't know if I would even finish that shit, but I did, and it was definitely worth it. Very large game, perhaps a bit too long, I don't know. Maybe there's too many characters, yeah. Maybe there was like one less character, it wouldn't feel so bloated for, you know, character arcs. All I'm saying is that the story, like the general arcing story, the overarching story, the main thing, was way too predictable. There was no subtlety for anything, and it was just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel strongly about this. I enjoyed playing it, but I'm done with it, and I don't think I'm gonna be replaying it. Considering I replayed Persona 3 and 4, I don't think I'm gonna be going back to Persona 5. And if they're gonna be doing Persona 6, they better do something new, because I am definitely tired of the formula. But I recently talked about this with my brother, you know, and it seems like there's a theme with me and series of games. Usually the third game, if it's doing the same fucking thing, I'm like, alright, I'm gonna finish this, but man, I am bored of this. And that happened with Assassin's Creed, that happened with Batman, the Arkham trilogy, that happened with Uncharted, that happened now with Persona, with the 5 being the same style of like 3 and 4. And you know, stuff like that. So I guess the franchise fatigue is real. Seems to be that case anyway. I didn't feel that way about Prince of Persia, Two Thrones. It's interesting. Maybe there was enough time between those games. Right, so I did talk about my Persona 5 problems. What else is there from this year on PS4 that I played? Outside of Neo. Let It Die, man. Well, although I guess that released 2015 actually. No, they released in 2016. Yeah, like December 2016. Never mind. Well, that's a game that everybody totally forgot about. I did play Gravity Rush Remaster. That was nice. That was a good remaster. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's another category that I would like to talk about. Remaster of the year. Yeah, Dark Souls 3, definitely. I'm tired of the formula. I would like something new, for sure. Though I think Dark Souls 3 is my favorite of the 3 Dark Souls games. Because Dark Souls 1, I'm super tired of. I've seen that shit so many times. I'm like, yeah, whatever, fuck that game. Dark Souls 2, it's alright. I like the game. But there's many areas that I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to see those things again. Dark Souls 3, though, has my favorite like weapons. All of the boss fights I love. Every single boss fight in Dark Souls 3 is amazing and I love it. The music's the best Dark Souls has ever seen. And yeah, I think Dark Souls 3 is my favorite of the Dark Souls trilogy, for sure. Especially with the DLCs, fuck yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely tired of the formula. They need to do something new. So here's hoping Shadows Die Twice is doing something new, something a bit different. But I guess not too different, because I do like the basic gameplay loop and the feel of everything. Alright, back to the topic. Remaster of the year. There's a bunch. Although, was Gravity Rush 2016? No, I mean 2017. I don't think it was remastered. 2016, okay. So, off the top of my head, there's 3 nominees for this. It would be Gravity Rush Remastered, Final Fantasy XII Remaster, and now Okami HD. Also there's Wipeout Omega. Oh shit. And Odin Sphere, I think that was 2016, right? Odin Sphere Life Trust here. Yeah, that's 2016. Alright, never mind that. So out of those games, I didn't play all of them. I didn't play Wipeout. But I'm 100% sure that is an excellent collection of games and tracks and all that stuff. But for my money, as good as Gravity Rush Remastered was, it's kind of short and small game. It looks great, it controls great, it's running at 60 frames per second, which for this game is just awesome. Yeah, this game was really fun. I marathoned the shit out of it on stream, and I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. Watch it, mister! But for me personally, it's gotta be between Final Fantasy XII Remaster and Okami HD. And considering Okami HD is a port of probably the PS3 port, I gotta go with Final Fantasy XII, because that remaster is insanely amazing. I loved it. Because, and that's one of my favorite parts about this remaster, not only did they remaster all the FMVs and put in the Zodiac Age and the Zodiac version stuffs, like the rebalances, the Gambit stuff, and you know, bunch of improvements. and the job system, they also put in the Japanese voice acting, which is like, oh my god, yes. That was not previously available. So this remaster instantly is even more interesting. If you've played the game before, you know, in 2006, 11 years ago, you played it in English, for sure. Unless you imported the Japanese copy. That's like fully in Japanese. So now you get a chance to replay the game with the new voice acting. Even if you're not a weeb, this should be interesting for you, right? So, yeah, this looks amazing. It runs perfectly well. It's got the Japanese voice acting too. The UI is also remastered. Here's the Jesus of Final Fantasy. Crucified. I'm so sad that Bosch cut the hair and the beard. Wish we could just stick with this character model. And also this armor looks fucking awesome. Maybe when the game finally comes to PC, which I expect to happen within like 3 months or 4 months, I expect this game to be on PC before March, or March, the latest. That's what I'm projecting anyway. If it's gonna get on PC, I would really like to see some sort of mod to have Bosch like this for the main game. You check the card piece? Damn! Definitely would like to see that. I mean, this also looks pretty cool, you know, but still. Vassler is voiced in English by Nolan North. I don't know if you guys know that. It's kind of crazy. Guy is in everything, man. Yeah, this is definitely my remaster of the year. Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. It's excellent stuff. Now let's talk about less positive thing. Disappointment of the year. That's an easy thing to call. As much as I was disappointed by Nier and Persona in some ways, small ways admittedly, because I don't really care about story in video games too much. I always care about gameplay and music first. And Nier and Persona both have great gameplay and great music, so I can't really complain too much. The thing that disappointed me the most this year is definitely 100% Evil Within 2. Man, that game started pretty well. It was pretty interesting and I was into it. And then it completely shat the bed and it became so fucking shitty, it's not even cool. Let's check in the details here. So at first I was like really intrigued by the whole open world survival horror thing. I was like, whoa, that sounds very interesting. I've never seen that tried at all. Unless you consider Stalker a survival horror game with an open world structure, which it kinda is. I guess it's a really good comparison actually. Anyway, I'm glad that I purchased the game on Steam because it allowed me to choose the Japanese voice acting, which was a huge improvement over the English one, because none of the English voice actors from the first game are appearing in the second game, and I don't understand why. Anyway, here Julie Kidman is voiced by the same girl that voices Claire Redfield in Resident Evil Revelations 2 in Japanese, so that's awesome. The whole story just is weak. The premise of Sebastian looking for his daughter sucks. The game looks nice. The game has an amazing art direction and everything looks cool, but I gotta say the AI really shits everything. The AI is so damn stupid. There's like no challenge at all. On the highest difficulty besides the classic mode, that is. Because once you get the cover sneak kill thing, you basically can just kill everything without expending any bullets. And that's kind of weird. And it's not even hard to do. So basically stealth is too strong in this game. Also, repeated, like a rehashed, or like, I guess reused bosses as like a regular mook during the open world, quote unquote open world sections suck. I'm not opposed to that idea in general. I'm not against that. but the way they do it in this game is not good. Probably my favorite part of this game was the boss gauntlet from the, like, all the bosses from the first game with the crazy awesome music in the background. So that's kind of like the same thing with like Nier Automata, right? My favorite part is the callback to the first game. The game definitely fell apart after like the 6th chapter. It all goes downhill. It gets more linear. There's not much in the open map segments to go. The story starts... They talk too much. And then at the very end, it really starts like a... Hey, we've seen Inception, and now we're gonna do Inception in a video game. Yeah! And it's so shameless. Boy, is it shameless. Like, the ending segment could have been cool, but the execution was just all over the place. They had some really good ideas, but it didn't really pan out well. One thing that I will give credit is this boss. This final boss was awesome. I enjoyed fighting this boss. Though, again, it wasn't too much to talk about. Nothing too complicated. But I'm not really against that, you know. After playing Dead Space 2 on Zealot mode, yeah. I'll take a simple, straightforward boss. Though there were some mechanics that you need to pay attention to here. The music was good. The boss and Sebastian also like talked amongst each other during the boss. That was pretty cool. And yeah, it was just fun to fight. So I'll take that over super challenging and maybe too complicated boss. That was alright. Final segment, man, this whole... And the writing in this game, oh my god, it's also all over the place. Some of the things they say here, this guy says, your pain, your suffering will be legendary. I'm like, what? Are you fucking serious? And then everybody's happy. Man, happy ending in a horror game? What are you saying? Even the happy ending in Dead Space 2 isn't all that bright and optimistic, because you know that even though Isaac and Ellie escaped the Titan station, they're pretty much fucked because of the stuff that's happening in the space, in the universe. Anyway, so that was definitely my disappointment of the year. Man. I'm glad I played through the game, but boy, it sucked. It didn't suck at first, but then I, realized what the game is about, what the mechanics are, and how can I abuse them, and then it stopped being fun. And then the story kicked in. Yeah, that sucked. I guess Tokiden 2 also came out this year, but I didn't even play it. It was on my list of the hypest game of the year, and it was my #1 hypest game of the year. But then Nioh happened, and after that I didn't really feel like I need to play Tokiden 2 anymore. So let's talk about Nioh. Nioh being my game of the year. This game is fucking awesome. And let me tell you why. There's a bunch of things. I'm probably not gonna say them all off the top of my head. I probably should have made a list or something. But this game does so many things right. It's unbelievable to me. And I'm not even kidding when I say that this is probably like one of my favorite games of all time. Because I have played a few games in my life, alright? I've been gaming since, I don't even know, since I was a kid on Sega Mega Drive. So I played a bunch of games. And yeah, I played this game for 600 hours, more than that, and I'm still not done. I'm definitely gonna go back to some more Nioh. I still wanna go, I still haven't cleared like every single mission on the highest difficulty. I haven't reached the 100th floor of the Abyss. And there's 999 floors of that shit, so I'm gonna be doing more of that at some point. But yeah, this game does so many things right, and the base game was already really good, because the New Game Plus doesn't just bump all the numbers up, it also does some change to the enemy placements and all that stuff. and you get more loot, you get more properties for your loot, and then there's like free updates that gave us the live action, the live PvP mode, which I didn't play because I'm not into PvP in these games, but it's cool that it's there. They also added some more missions that are like boss challenges, which is awesome. And then the DLCs came out, and boy, the DLCs are amazing. They're pretty cheap considering, and every single DLC added a new game plus cycle, which again bumps up all the numbers, remixes the enemies, introduces the DLC enemies into the base missions, and gives like new properties to some super bosses. It's cool. And that's not even talking about the DLC specific missions and new stuff and new weapon categories, that being the Odachi, the big sword, and the Tonfa. Yeah. One thing I really enjoy about the game is the fashion. You can change the look of any weapon, of any armor, like independent of their stats. So you can make your light armor look like heavy armor, and the game's like, sure, if you want that, just do it, man. Whatever. It's you, just do it. You can't make a Tonfa look like an Odachi, okay, that's dumb. But again, you can change the look of your weapon as well. You can reroll stats just like in Diablo. And also the story. I'm gonna say the story is nothing special. It's very average. But you know what's cool about it? It doesn't beat your head with the damn story. The cutscenes are short and sweet, and also I would say that the directing of the cutscenes is actually pretty fucking good. I will never say never, but I will not forget anytime soon the scene where William meets with Ieyasu for the first time, and Ieyasu, there's like this sort of close up on his face, and he's like doubting on and just measuring William with his eyes, and you can feel the atmosphere. It's so thick, and there's like this sound in the background. It's just that scene really stayed with me. It's so good. So I think as uninteresting as the story may be for a lot of people, I think it did its job fairly well. You know, it just you know, it spun together the missions and it flowed well enough. So it's alright. And the cutscenes were also pretty interesting. Here's a Neo statue. This is the Agio, I think. So other things that this game does well is definitely the Chambara aspect. You know, the sword fighting. All the animations, all the attacks, all the bosses, all the designs, everything is a callback to something. You've seen it in a movie, you've seen it in an anime, you've seen it in a fighting game, you've seen it somewhere, and it's all there. Case in point, freaking the beta had the Muneshige fight, and that guy uses so many moves of Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur, it's not even funny. It's not funny because it's awesome. Here we go with the Inariyama. There's a bunch of references to like real world locations as well. Also, it's taking place during the Sengoku Jidai, so you meet all the famous people like Tate Masamune, Sarutobi Sasuke, fucking Yukimura Sanada, all the names. So if you're a fan of like samurai warriors, you know, and the spirit in general, and the mythological beings like Yamato no Orochi, who we are on our way to defeat in Okami, you will definitely like a lot of what you will see in this game. And another thing that's extremely important about this game set a very important and huge precedent for other console games, and that is the choice of your frame rate. You can choose high resolution with shittier frame rate, which is, they give you all the options. You can either choose high resolution with frame rate capped at 30 frames, or you can have high resolution with variable frame rate, which means it can fluctuate over 30 frames. So sometimes it's gonna be smoother, Sometimes it's gonna be less smooth, but you know, the option is there. Or you can select the 720p for 60 frames per second. And if you tell me you tried both modes and you can't tell the difference, then there's probably something wrong with you, because even from the camera alone, the camera movement, you can feel the difference with 60 frames. Oh yeah, I made this picture because of the meme, you know, like, trust nobody, not even yourself. That kind of thing. Fuku with the side boob. Oh man. Yeah, the waifus are pretty good in this game too. Again, if there was a photo mode in this game, that would be also fucking awesome. But these games don't like to get paused. They did add a pause, but it's kinda out of the way. You can't really use it easily. So it's kinda whatever. I would love a photo mode in this game, oh my god. Because of the chambara aspect. When you block something, when you parry something, all the poses look fucking awesome. Tateshi Gazane here on the left is voiced by, if I remember correctly, Joji Nakata, who voiced, what's his name from Persona 5, the old man. Jeez. Sojiro. He voiced him. And he also voices Soul Bad Guy in Guilty Gear. Man, Masamune. Nurari Hyun on the left. Sweet. Yeah, so basically this is my game of the year, easily. Nioh. Played it for 600 hours and I want to play more. So I was thinking, oh yeah, I guess I could talk about this. I was thinking what next about this maybe franchise. I was thinking if they're gonna make a sequel to this, here's what I would like to see. I would like to see the sequel in the Meiji period, which is the 19th century Japan, when it's getting seriously westernized. Is that the word? Westernization? Yeah, westernized. It's getting westernized. And that would open up the possibility for create a character. You could create your own character who came to Japan, or you could be a Japanese guy who's already there, or whatever. You could be black, you could be white, you could be Asian, whatever. Because people are coming to Japan from all over the world. Alright, so you could create your own character. Male, female, whatever. So that would be a cool thing because everybody's asking for that shit. Everybody wants to create their own character. I was kinda alright with William. He looks alright. Whatever. You can give him a beard. So I can't complain. And then you can morph into the girls. That's also good. Can't complain about that either. So that's one thing. Meiji period, westernization of Japan with the gaijin getting in there, so you could create your own character. And if you haven't played Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, then that's a game that takes place in such a setting. And the idea is that people are kinda like developing very quickly because of like the outside influence. And people are like discarding tradition, and they stop believing in the classic stuff, like, you know, the mythology and stuff like that. So you could use that as well for Nioh 2 in the Meiji period, and it just would be such an interesting setting for a game like this. Again, it would be fighting, you know, dudes. I guess there would be more guns as well, which this game also has, so I don't see a real problem with that. The fashion could be different. Oh man, you could have like a proper fucking suit and a top hat. You could have a suit, top hat, some pocket watch, and a katana. Fuck, I'm in. I would love to see that happen. And then there could be like a conflict between the modern era and the classic stuff, and the mythology and folklore. Yeah, you could definitely make a game around that in such a setting. I would definitely love to see that. But maybe even more than that, I would prefer to just see a new game with this with these systems. I really like the stances and stuff, but would I be okay with more of the same? I don't know. Guess I'd like to see them do something new rather than the same thing again. Because I did play the game for 600 hours. So I guess I would be okay with them doing something a bit more fresh. If it's gonna be the same game again with 3 stances and the same weapons, but a new setting, would that be enough? I don't know, man. Probably not. Damn. Definitely gotta do something more than just that, if you ask me. And also, that's like the only disappointing thing about this game. I couldn't find any like a headgear that is only eye patch and nothing else. There is one helmet that has an eye patch, but there is no simple eye patch. That was a bit disappointing. But at least there's the lion mane helmet of 3 kinds with 3 different main colors. And you can transmorph into freaking Masamune. So you can have the head, you can have the eye patch if you really want to, I guess. Oh man, this guy's awesome. Senju Muramasa. Nobunaga. Man, Nobunaga's cutscenes were also pretty cool. I knew that we were gonna be fighting Nobunaga from the intro because that was fucking obvious, but the way it turned out was a bit different than I was expecting, for sure. He is not the final boss. Yep. Yep. This game's awesome. If you like 3D, if you like third-person action melee RPGs with stamina-based combat management thing, and you haven't played this, you fucked up. But worry not, this game is out on PS4 and PC, and I hear they added mouse and keyboard support, and it's actually pretty fucking good apparently. So you better get on that. You better get on that shit. I guess it's gonna do it. I'm really hungry. I'm really hungry. So let's cut it off. I talked enough. I talked about my I guess so Lewd game of the year is Nier Automata. Music of the year is Nier Automata. Disappointment of the year is Evil Within 2. Remaster of the year is Final Fantasy XII Remaster. And the game of the year is easily Yo! Man, the game's awesome. The game's so good. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna get out of here. I'm really hungry, and there's the Soul Calibur 5 tournament that I'm missing right now.